Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sentinel Sports Extra, Cleveland Cavs Weekly Report. I'm your host, Cavs beat writer and Sentinel founder and publisher, Tim Shirer. We have a lot to talk about here. Last week was a busy week for the Cavs. I can't be sure. I haven't looked back at it. Maybe I'll look after the show. I believe I predicted they would go 3-1 last week, and they went 3-1. They pretty much had the week that was a predictable week. They beat the teams that they're better than, and they lost to the one team that they're not better than. Let's face it, the Rockets are a better team. But let's start with some business. This Sentinel Sports Extra is brought to you by CT Roofing and Power Wash, the official power wash of the Lake County Sentinel and roofer of the Lake County Sentinel. 440-278-0506 to get an estimate for a power wash, for a roof, for siding. They work on decks. Lots of things. Give them a call. They do great work. So let's get to the Cavs. The Cavs played 4 games last week. They'll play 3 this week. Little one less game this week. You do have the Thanksgiving holiday. They actually have 3 days in a row off this week, which is crazy. They've not had that in a while. So I honestly, I don't think they've had that. I don't know if they've had that this season. Since the season began. I'm looking here. No, they have not had 3 days in a row off since the season began. So this will be a nice break for a team that's got some injuries. A lot of guys are out tonight. The injury report will go a little bit for tonight. But let's go over what happened last week. Starting with last Monday, when they took on the Bucks. It was the second game. Actually, it was the third game of the 6-game homestand. So they took on the Bucks Monday. They beat the Bucks 118-106. Giannis was injured near the end of the first half. So he did not play the second half, but the Cavs have improved to 2-0 against the Bucks this season at home. But remember, they will go to Milwaukee to play them a couple times, and it is never easy to win in Milwaukee. Never has been. I can remember when I was a kid. It was a nightmare for the Cavs to go to Milwaukee. That was the same time it was a nightmare for the Indians to go to Milwaukee to play the Brewers because the Brewers were good. So Milwaukee was just a nightmare back then if you were a Cleveland kid. But let's move on. Tuesday, the Cavs, they played the Rockets. They beat the Rockets. They lost to the Rockets 114-104. Garland did not play in that game. That it was a tough game. As I said when we started the show, the Rockets are a better team than the Cavs. They are. Right now, the Rockets are a better team. So losing to the Rockets was not like, oh my gosh, they lost to the Rockets. No. You might say that when they lose to the Raptors, because even though the Raptors have a better record right now by half a game, Cavs are better than them. But the Rockets are better than the Cavaliers right now. They have a really, really nice young team. The West is loaded, people. The West is absolutely loaded. I could see there's probably 6 teams in the West that if they were in the East, they would be easily number 1 in the East. So let's just be honest about that. But, so they lost that game to the Rockets on Wednesday. Then they played Friday night, and they beat the Indiana Pacers 120-109. The Pacers have half the state of Indiana on their injured list. They are a shadow of the team that got to the finals last year. Of course, their coach, Rick Carlisle, is a great coach. So he's going to have them prepared, even being shorthanded like they are. But, they just didn't have enough firepower to beat the Cavs. They have enough firepower to beat most teams in the NBA. They beat Charlotte last week, but let's be honest, Charlotte's pretty bad. So then the week finished up last night when they took on the Los Angeles Clippers. It was Chris Paul's last game ever in Cleveland. And unless the Clippers and Cavs get to the finals, which I don't see happening. I could see the Cavs getting to the finals, but probably not the Clippers. But it was Chris Paul's last game in Cleveland, and the crowd acknowledged him when the PA guy mentioned that he was retiring and his accomplishments. The sellout crowd on Pride Night at Rocket Arena gave him a nice round of applause, and he acknowledged the crowd too, which was nice. He's had a great career. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's top 75 all-time NBA players. I mean, he's pretty good. He's just older now. You could see the difference. But he doesn't play as much, But what a great career for Chris Paul. But the Cavs ended up winning the game 120-105. Donovan Mitchell was the leading scorer for the Cavs. He had 37. It's the 10th time this year he's had over 30. Evan Mobley had a double-double. Zubac had 38 for the Clippers. That guy's a load. But he also cries a lot. He also whines a lot. He really does whine quite a bit. It's kind of annoying how much he whines. But, he's never committed oh my goodness. He's never committed a foul, but he thinks anybody that comes within 5 feet of him committed a foul against him. He's one of those guys. But, of course, the Clippers also have James Harden, and you really can't come within 5 feet of James Harden, or you will get called for a foul. It's really, that's never changed his whole career. And he's a great actor, too. Like, you don't even have to touch the guy, and he'll act like he got pushed out of the way. But, the Clippers aren't very good. Ty Lue, if I was Ty Lue, if he has an out in his contract or anything, I would try to get a job somewhere else, because they're an very old team, the Clippers. They're this current makeup of the Clippers is it's not going to go anywhere. So that was the clip. That was last week. 3-1, good week. 4-2 on the homestand. A 6-game homestand, a game every other day. Went from the 13th through the 23rd. And now the Cavs back-to-back. They'll be in Toronto tonight to take on the Raptors. And the injury report is long for the Cavs. Allen will not play. Garland will not play. Hunter will not play. Merrill out again. He will not play. Craig Porter Jr. is still out, will not play. Max Strus out still. And Dean Wade is questionable. So this could get pretty ugly tonight. I don't know. Maybe not, though. Maybe the Cavs will, be able to win this. That's a lot of guys out. That's 7 guys out tonight. So we're going to see a lot of G League guys. Naquan Tomlin, I would think, would start. I'd be stunned if Naquan Tomlin didn't start. Tyson will probably start. Mitchell, Tyson, Mobley. Tomlin, and I don't know if Wade is healthy. Maybe he starts. I don't know. It's be an interesting game, and this is a national game on Peacock too. So I don't know. The injury report is long. I know it's a back-to-back, but my God, my God. I just don't understand. Guys can't play back-to-backs anymore. Donovan Mitchell's playing back-to-back. I get Garland because he is still recovering from the toe. Allen, is his finger that bad now? How much time's Allen going to miss? You know what I mean? So that's a really tough injury report. But they're going to take on the Raptors. The Raptors are 12-5, 5-2 at home, second in the East, first in the Atlantic. They beat the Cavs twice this year, both in Cleveland. The Cavs do hold the all-time edge against the Raptors, 60-53. But the Raptors do have a slight edge in Toronto, 30-26. As I said, the game will be on Peacock tonight. So, we'll see what happens. It's not looking favorable for a Cavs victory, but you never know. You never know. So we'll move on after tonight. Like I said, the Cavs have their first stretch of 3 days off during the season since the season began. And that next game for the Cavs will be on Friday in Atlanta against the Hawks. They're 11-7. They're 3-4 at home. They're under 500 at home. They're fifth in the East, second in the Southeast, and that game will be 7:30 on Friday. So it'll be interesting to see, getting a few days off, how healthy the roster is on Friday after having 7 guys on the injured list today. And Toronto only has 1, RJ Barrett. So, but it'll be interesting to see how small that injury list is Friday. I expect that Merrill will still be on it Friday as well as Strus. But all the other guys could be back, I guess. You don't know, though. So that'll be Friday in Atlanta. I cannot remember. I can't remember what the name of the Atlanta Hawks home arena is. I want to call it. That's the State Farm Arena. I knew it was an insurance arena. I want to call it the Omni. The Hawks used to play at the Omni a long time ago, but it's not the Omni anymore. It's a different building too. So after Friday, the Cavs will then come home to play the Boston Celtics at Rocket Arena at 6:00. And the Cavs did lose to Boston in Boston, which was shocking, on October 29th. The Cavs should not be losing to Boston, this current team that Boston has. The Cavs will host them at 6 o'clock Sunday. The Celtics are 9-8. They are 4-4 on the road. They're 10th in the East and 4th in the Atlantic Division out of 5 teams. You know the injuries they have. I'm not, who's feeling bad for the Celtics? Is there anyone around the NBA that feels bad for the Celtics? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think anybody around the NBA feels bad for the Boston Celtics. No. Why would anyone feel bad for them? Okay, so they have injuries. They have guys that are out for the year or whatever. Who cares? Who cares? Do Boston fans feel bad for Cleveland fans when a Cavs player's out for the year? No, they don't. And they shouldn't. So I definitely don't feel bad for the Boston Celtics. I know the NBA wishes that the Celtics were healthy, but who cares that they're not? And I hope every team in the league can make them pay this year. They're 9-8 though. It's kind of surprising they're actually over 500, but it will not last. I'm predicting about 30 wins for the Celtics. So that game will be at 6 o'clock on Sunday. And let's be honest, folks. The Cavs are the best product in town. Let's be honest here. Do we like to win in Cleveland? Or are we just a city that loves drama? Because I think if we honestly like to win, then the Cavs are the team you should be supporting. How about supporting them? How about showing up for the Cavs? Show up for the Cavs. Like you show up for that trash organization down the street, the Browns. The biggest joke in American professional sports since 1999. How about showing up for the Cavs? Spend some of that money that you spend down at the lakefront for the joke team. How about spending some of that money for the Cavs? Or, hey, how about this? How about for the Guardians? In the summer. 2 teams that actually make the playoffs regularly. Unlike that joke down at the lakefront. We will never do a show about them. I've thought about it. I've thought, we probably could get a lot of views if we do a show about the Browns. I shouldn't say never. I guess maybe at some point. But this is about as much as I want to talk about that football team. Because it makes me sick when the press section is virtually empty because something might be going on with the Browns. It's disgusting to me. Okay, they played late last night. I can understand that. But when they play at 1 o'clock and then the people don't come to cover the game or don't come, the fans are late, and you can tell the crowd is drunk because they were at the Browns game and in the Muni lot. Let's be honest. It's a shit show down there. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. I'm not going to comment about any personnel on that team. I'm not going to give them that satisfaction. So this is Cavs Weekly, okay? As I've said before, screw the Browns. That's it. So the Cavs, 3 games this week. Tonight, Friday, and Sunday. I'm going to predict a 2-1 week. I'm not going to say which games I think they'll win or lose, but I'm going to predict a 2-1 week. I think the most obvious loss would probably be tonight with all the guys out. But I'm not going to say. You never know what can happen in the NBA. So let's discuss next Monday whether I was right or not. And chances are I won't be. Although I've been pretty good with the Cavs. I was horrible during the Guardians season. Just horrible during the Guardians season, predicting how the week would go. I mean, I think I got like 2 weeks right out of, 26. Yeah, it was bad. It was not good. When I thought they'd do lousy, they did well. When I thought they'd do well, they did lousy. So, but I'm doing pretty good with the Cavs. So hopefully that continues. If they go 2-1 this week, that'll be a good week. They would be 14-7 then. So I'm hoping they can go 2-1. I'm hoping they win on Sunday. I like writing about wins. You know, I write about losses too, but I like writing about wins. But I think that's about it for this week for this show. Remember, it's brought to you by CT Roofing and Power Wash, the official roofer of the Lake County Sentinel. 440-278-0506 for a free roofing, siding, deck, or power wash estimate. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. For those of you who play fantasy sports, I will see you tomorrow night at 8:30. We will talk about the upcoming week in fantasy football. A lot went on this week, and a lot to talk about. So injuries and everything. But if you don't watch that, and if you don't watch our prediction show, if this is your thing, the Cavs, then I'll see you next week. And I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving and spend time with your family and enjoy it and cherish every moment of it. So have a good night, everybody.